Hey there, so today is another in my emotionally broken series, as you can probably tell, and this is an interesting one. I want to talk about what people who suffer with mental illness want everyone else to know. Mental illness is super common now, very, very, very common, and I think it always has been in a way. It just wasn't as well known. The likelihood is you know at least one person, probably more, with mental illness. But as I've spoken about before, there is still a very big stigma on it, and because of this, it's not very well talked about. So I want to shed a bit of light, if you like, and hopefully this can help people who would like to understand a bit more. I can understand that if you're not in that situation, mental illness can be very difficult to grasp, and because of this, that's why I do these. Well, part of one of the many reasons I do these videos. I do them to help you grasp it. I do it so that people who are suffering, they can say, look, watch these videos. They'll help you understand. So I talked to some other people who suffer as well, and I've got some interesting things, as well as my own, of course, and things that people have told me in the past as well. And so yeah, just things that people with mental illness would like you to know. And obviously, I wish I didn't have to say this, but I feel like I do. As a disclaimer, I'm not speaking for every single person out there. Everyone is different. However, this is just my opinion and the people that I have spoken to. So the first one is, it's real. It's a real tangible thing. It's not fake. We're not faking this. Now, thankfully, as time has gone on, it's gotten a lot better. People don't say this as much as they used to. But you still hear it. You still get accused of faking or it being all in your head, which is just hilarious, really. Mental illness is a very real thing. I think the best way to put it is, if you knew someone with diabetes or epilepsy, asthma, anything that is a physical illness but on the inside of the body, you wouldn't question them. You wouldn't say, oh no, you don't have it, just because you can't see it. That's the same thing with us. Just because you can't see what is going on doesn't make it any less real. We're grateful for your support. This is really difficult because depending on how close you are with the person with mental illness, it can be really tough. The person in question may come across as very ungrateful sometimes. You may feel like, why are you doing this? Why am I trying to support this person who's just not listening to me? There's a lot more to it than that. We're not, honestly, we understand, we get why this is frustrating, we're living with it. But we are so grateful for any support that we ever get, because for a lot of people, they never feel good enough to have that support. Healthy eating, exercise, being in the countryside, are not a cure. This is one that really frustrates me, because healthy eating, exercise, etc., can help. I'm not going to deny that. We all know that exercise releases the happy chemicals and all of this. We all know this. But it really annoys me when people share, there's a picture thing around on Facebook, and you have a picture of a forest and a picture of antidepressants, and people, and the comment on it, over the forest it says this is an antidepressant, and then on the antidepressant it says this is shit or chemicals or something rubbish like that. Being in the countryside can really help. It can also be a massive hindrance. Personally, for me, living away from any cities or towns means that it's very, very easy for me to isolate myself. And also personally for me, if I was to go for a walk, for example, or be in the countryside, I panic. It makes me really, really anxious. More so than in a village or town. I don't like being outside in the open. And so for a lot of people think that's, it's an easy cure, instant. It's not even in the slightest. Doing these things to better yourself, as I said, they can help, they really can. They are not, in any way, shape or form, the answer to all mental illness. Not in the slightest. Mental illness isn't something you ever get better from. It's not curable. This is tough because I can understand why people say it, I really can. You see someone you love suffering and you want them to get better, of course you do. So, and because this is how we have learned that when someone is ill, they can get better. But I think all of us have experienced situations where that doesn't happen. Not everything is curable, and some things you just have to live with them and learn how to cope with them, and that's mental illness. You can get to a point in your life where you can live completely normally and generally be fine. But mental illness will always be there. And I think that's something that really people should really struggle with, because I've had the comment a number of times. Sorry if I do that or anything. The sun is blaring in my eyes right now. I've had a comment a couple of times about being better because, as I have mentioned before, over the past year or so, I have been improving. And because of this, I had some interesting comments. One that comes to mind is I had gotten out for a couple of weeks in a row. Brilliant! I hadn't managed to do that in ages. And then I was anxious about something, and a friend said, "Oh, but you're fine now, you're cured. You've done it once, you can do it again, it's fine." No, it's not. This is the thing. People don't understand that it's a constant battle. and it always will be for a very long time. You have to learn how to cope with these things. Even people like my mum, who is basically my carer to a point, she even is a culprit of saying these things, and she doesn't mean it unkindly in any way, but she would like to see me better, and the idea that her daughter will never get better is difficult. But I will improve, I hope. It's just that mental illness will always be a part of me. I think that's where learning to take it as a part of you comes in, which I've spoken about before. Mental illness is a part of me now. It's a part of who I am. And I'm learning how to see that as not as a bad thing as much as it has been in the past. It's okay to speak about it. Again, this is tough because it's something that for a long time no one has ever spoken about. So a lot of people faced with the situation of having someone in their lives with mental illness will push it to one side as much as they can. They will try and run away from it and pretend it's not there, or not talk about it with the person. Because it's something they don't understand or something they don't know, so it's automatically scary. It is for anyone. But not talking about it is one of the worst things we can do. I am extremely open and honest. We know this. And it is especially when it comes to mental illness. I do not hide my struggles at all. I wear every mark, every scar, mental and physical, with pride. I fight a daily battle. I have to fight my own mind every day, and I have to do that while trying to function like a normal human being, even if my level of functioning is much lower than some others. I should not be ashamed of that. So why would I not talk about it? And that's what these videos are. They're showing that it's okay to talk. If you're ever worried about someone, do you know that just asking if they're okay will mean more to them than you ever know? Mental illness is different for everyone. This is an obvious one, but it's important because not everyone seems to grasp this. Something that, if you take two people for example, and they are exactly the same in every way, they are everything is the same, they are duplicates of one another, and they both have mental illness. Let's say they both have anxiety, as this is a very common mental illness, it's a good one to use. Their anxiety is not going to be the same. One person A, might be very anxious over social situations, find it very difficult to talk to people and interact, worry what people are thinking, and be very cautious of what people are doing around them. Person B is very anxious over their health, is petrified at any illness they ever get, any mark or scratch or anything that's not 100% with their body, they panic. Both of those are anxiety. They're very, very different. They're subcategories of anxiety. You have social anxiety and health anxiety. Doesn't make it any less important. However, they're different. Not all anxiety is the same. Not everyone has social anxiety. And not everyone has health anxiety. Not everyone has generalised anxiety. Not everyone has all different sorts of anxiety that is out there. And the same goes for every illness. Everyone is different. Everyone suffers differently and has different things that set them off and has different manners of coping with it. Doesn't make one person any more valid than the other one just because they follow the textbook explanation of it better, because that's not how it works. What works for one person won't always work for another. This is following on from the previous one, really. But it's true again. Antidepressants don't always work for everyone. Counselling doesn't always work for everyone. CBT doesn't always work for everyone. DBT, you get the idea. Any sort of treatment for mental illness that's out there doesn't always work for everyone. I take antidepressants. I take one called Phosphine. I know a number of people who have massive issues with Phosphine, yet they take an antidepressant that I had massive issues with. We are all different. Our chemical makeup is different. I found a basic life skills CBT course to be pretty useless, but I found high intensity CBT to be very useful. I know someone who found the life skills CBT to be really useful. So it's very subjective. Everyone is different, and you can't judge someone on their mental illness through the treatment that they get. If someone copes on antidepressants and decides not to have any treatment like therapy or anything like that, that doesn't make them any more valid or any less valid than anyone else. Don't always believe the media. This is really tough because as time has gone on and the media has become more and more prominent, especially with talking about mental illness, you want to believe it. But it's not always true. One thing that comes to mind is a channel in England called ITV. They did a survey, and for I don't know why this was the conclusion that they came to, but the conclusion that they came to was anxiety was made worse in women because of Facebook. I don't know why Facebook can make anxiety worse, and I don't know why it's only women. when I heard that, at first I wanted to jump on them and get really upset, but I took it with a pinch of salt. Everyone that I have spoken to agrees that Facebook helps in a lot of ways. So I think the moral of the story is to take things from the media with a generous pinch of salt. I'm not saying disbelieve everything the media says, I'm saying think it through. Do your own research, make your own opinion, come to your own conclusions. We are not doing this for attention. This is something I've really struggled with. It's all of the symptoms that you see of mental illness. Anxiety attacks and panic attacks and shaking and not being able to breathe and fainting at times, and the constant talking about it that has to happen sometimes. We're not doing any of this for attention, we're not fishing. We can't, the symptoms wise, we can't control them. And the talking about it, thinking that we are attention seeking is the reason we have to talk about it. I truly believe and I truly hope that one day mental illness will be as socially accepted, as socially wow, I can't English. I genuinely hope that one day mental illness will be taken the same way as any other illness. There won't be people questioning it, calling you a liar or lazy or attention seeking, a freak. A weirdo, mad, insane, crazy. It will be seen just as everything else. And I hope that maybe, I doubt it will be this generation, but maybe then the next generation, if they have mental illness, they will never have to hear that they're attention seeking. I hope so. This isn't attention seeking. This is a part of our lives, and we are learning how to deal with it. And that often means talking about it, and that isn't a bad thing. I hope that was informative for you. Some of them were from other people, some of them were my own, and things that people have told me in the past. I'm hoping it gave you an insight, and it wasn't boring. It's just a bit of info and information on something that is very close to me, and something that I am trying very hard to get out in the open more. I've had a number of messages now saying thank you. Saying thank you for speaking when I can't. It makes everything worth it. I was sat at my computer yesterday for hours because the footage of a makeup tutorial was, I was having issues basically, editing. But then I'll get a comment or a message. Adore your makeup. It's given me the confidence to try it again. I'm learning. I love your Emotionally Broken series. Thank you for speaking out when I can't. I always told myself that if I could reach out to one person with the Emotionally Broken series, I had done what I wanted to do. I've had more than one message. Doesn't mean I'm finishing it, not by a long shot. I've still got a lot more to talk about, believe you me. But I'm really, really pleased that mental illness is being listened to, even if the person talking about it is a rambly, crazy woman. Whoops. Even if the person talking about it is just a woman sat in her room rambling. If that's what makes people listen, I'll ramble forever. Anyway, I hope this was informative, and until next time, just believe. Bye.